And I really deplore the people that focus on fear porn. But there's a difference between fear porn and being a responsible individual.
Right.
Now, in the old days, all right, being a responsible individual for your family and your community was to always make sure that in the winter months, remember, we didn't have fridges and all of that. We always made sure that in the winter months there was enough food. We always made sure in the summer that we toiled and our land. And now, in this day and age, what does a responsible human look like? Well, it looks like someone who understands that there is a failure in the system, that the system that was created to help and provide us to have this kind of lifestyle is not conducive to what we need, is actually using it to control us, and then at some time point it will enact some form of control, be it a power outage, be it something happening, with the finances. Either way, it's always wise. It's always wise to have anything that you can have, like growing in your own little house, even if you're in an apartment, cash.
It's the red pill poppers.
Yes.
Who suddenly find out that the red pill still has a blue pill side to it.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that aren't getting it, that's a Matrix reference. When he took the red pill and he's on the other side, there's no going back. Unfortunately, a tornado can force this soul back into fraud time because we have so many tacit agreements through that dollar, through the exchange of energy, through the shared realities, through the shared history, that guess what? Your no time moment gets pulled over. And this is where many of the love and lighters who aren't giving enough awareness to themselves when a tornado hits or this hits and this hits, and they find themselves, where is the love and the light?
Yeah, remember what happened in New York.
Right. Or New Jersey.
Exactly. Everywhere. And so this isn't...
and then the evil contractors came in and ripped everyone off, and years
Absolutely.
later they're still not in their house.
So this isn't fear porn and this isn't doom and gloom, but it's just called being responsible.
Right.
For yourself, so that you don't have to then rely on others to feed you. For example, we're all young enough, we know that we can store a little bit of water, and it's also just the way the world is at this moment of now. Now, if you want to carry on your streams and your growth and everything else, the worst thing that can happen is your body going through the imprint of trauma, or you even having that fear that if something did come, it will take you totally off your path and your track. Have that all there for a week or 2 weeks, just so you know. And then when something does happen, you'll be able to continue your stream, but also most importantly, you will be adding to the community and not subtracting from it because you just lived off your Pizza Hut every day and didn't have even anything in your fridge. You became the true urban slave.
Yeah.
With nothing in your fridge except maybe a beer or a piece of champagne or something, depending on what your lifestyle is.
And then there are the others that, they have the family and they have, 15, 20 days of food because they've got, 3 kids.
That's right.
That's a lot of food that goes out every day.
I tell you, and as soon as when they start growing and you've got a big bunch of them, going shopping for a normal one person would be for them for about 2 weeks because they're eating, they need to eat.
That's right. So this process of the 1 second ad, and we're going to come back to that and relate that to what's going on in this whole Greek debt and the whole concepts that we've gotten here. They've just added 1 second of propaganda. Mm-hmm. That's such a variable because the system is now trying to be unpredictable to us.
Yes.
I talk about being unpredictable and how well it screws up the system when you use contract revocations to prevent those moments where it can see what you're going to do so you can create something mystical in your own thing that isn't valued by the dollar first. Mm-hmm. That's got all the other exchanges and energies behind it that make it real for you, that make it valuable for you, that make it experiential for you. Now we must apply the conscious sacred to this. The Greek propaganda is just a sequel.
Yes.
But know that there's another sequel, another sequel, and another sequel. You still must listen to it slightly, because it is within the nuances and details of propaganda do you understand the strategy of what the propaganda is trying to create through its own unpredictable. It has an algorithm that keeps it stable, but all those are finite. It's just a matter of us figuring out what redo comes up next. What is it? Rambo Part 29 out of Iceland going to come back and fix the world? No. Or maybe Texas is going to secede and they're going to throw that up on the propaganda news and fire people up. Or it might just be another hurricane, or it might just be any of the other recycled propaganda tactics that look for instant gratification for your wisdom.
So, and here's something that, I mean, people who are obviously familiar with chess, this is nothing new. But sometimes when you're endeavoring to figure out their strategy, looking all around the world from afar and then just placing what's currently happening and then those effects, and then trying to figure out if they're doing that and these are the effects, what are they actually doing on the other side? And seeing what's happening there, because after a while you'll start to see a sequence of events, because remember, this is a system. It's not original, it's not authentic, it's not even connected to source, okay? So we as humans can think totally out of the rules, whereas this system, even though it has an incredible amount of algorithms, the algorithm is finite.
There you go.
We are infinite. And this is us learning how to deal with the chess, our chess opposite, and exactly what they're doing, so that we then can move in the way that is best known as be like water, as Bruce Lee always says. We can then move accordingly so that we're still staying fully connected with source, but still fully aware of what is happening. This is key. A lot of people become hermits and they're not aware of what's going on in the world. You're not helping if you're like that. We need to be able to expand and then emanate to all aspects of the globe. We are global beings.
Okay. So the next layer of propaganda, it has volume control.
Yes.
That's called print and digital media.
Yes.
And it's a linguistical programming masterpiece out there. Okay, and that linguistic masterpiece of programming that is the way we read is the proverbial backwards bike suddenly being forced upon someone to unlearn an old way and learn a new way, and it makes it almost impossible for them to go back if they've put enough belief energy into that new system. That is, the fear porn is the evil backwards bike being used against you in unawareness.
And that was also so interesting, because when we're talking about the backwards bike and we're talking about the propaganda, we had this one perspective where we were talking about the neuro-linguistic programming, and how they had this one thing and all they talked about was how the troops reacted, but not actually what actually happened and the results and the events and the causes, but they just talked about the reaction of the troops, and they kept on pushing it, and there's another clue just to watch, and you've got some prime examples of the effects of that, haven't you?
Endless.
So there we have it, folks. No need to be depressed, no need to regress. Let's just get out there, be infinite, and show them what it takes.
You have just been granted 1 second by fraud time leaders in the Lizard organization to do whatever you want. It is their mistake for doing that.
Indeed.
Time for you to seize apex of your own hierarchical order and say, I'm going to make 1 trillion extra no-time seconds and seconds with it.
As they say, time is money, money is time, so take more of their money then if you
can.
Exactly.
You have these opportunities of perspective to make that 1 second your infinite, co-creative, changing internal moment that makes you go now.
What would happen if all of a sudden everybody used that second and awoke, because that wasn't planned?
It would be ascension. It'd be waking up. It'd be like, the fireworks in the sky.
Yes, and then what would happen?
No RV would need to happen. We'd need to change it. We'd all look at money and go, why would we use this garbage?
And then what would happen then to the financial system for which they created the second?
It wouldn't fall. It would just go, I'm obsolete. Like a TRS-80 from the 1980s.
Or like the dinar.
Or the dinar. It is obsolete like the floppy disk.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And with the RV guys, didn't they make another push because it's just been
4th of July surprise, yes.
Yeah.
Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. It's just a sequel.
Exactly.
Don't believe the guys writing in all capital letters.
So enjoy your second, everybody. We love you. Namaste.
Namaste.